Magnify thou, O Lord my God, him who is the primal point, the divine majesty, the unseen essence, the day spring of divinity, and the manifestation of thy lordship, through whom all the knowledge of the past and all the knowledge of the future were made plain, through whom the pearls of thy hidden wisdom were uncovered, and the mystery of thy treasured name disclosed, whom thou hast appointed as the announcer of the one through whose name the letter B and letter E have been joined and united, through whom thy majesty, thy sovereignty, and thy might were made known, through whom thy words have been set down and thy laws set forth with clearness, and thy sign spread abroad, and thy word established, through whom the hearts of chosen ones were laid bare, and all that were in the heavens and all that were on the earth were gathered together, whom thou hast called Ali Muhammad, in the kingdom of thy names, and the spirit of spirits, in the tablet of thine irrevocable decree, whom thou hast invested with thine own title, unto whose name all other names have, at thy bidding and through the power of thy might, been made to return, and in whom thou hast caused all thine attributes and titles to attain their final consummation, to whom also belong such name as lay hide within stainless tabernacles in thine invisible world and thy sanctified cities. Magnify thou, moreover, such as have believed in him and his signs, and have turned toward him, from among those that have acknowledged thy unity in his later manifestation, a manifestation thereof he had made mention in his tablets, and in his book, and his scriptures, and in all wondrous verses and gem-like utterances that have descended upon him. It is this same manifestation whose covenant thou hast bidden him establish ere he had established his own covenant. He it is whose praise the Bayan had celebrated. In it his excellence had been exalted, and his truth established, and his sovereignty proclaimed, and his cause perfected. Blessed is the man that hath turned unto him, and fulfilled the things he hath commanded. O thou who art the Lord of the worlds, and the desire of all them that have known thee. Praise be thou, O my God, inasmuch as thou hast aided us to recognize and love him. I therefore beseech thee by him and by them who are the dayspring of thy divinity and the manifestation of thy lordship and the treasuries of thy revelation and the depositories of thine inspiration, to enable us to serve and obey him, and to empower us to become the helpers of his cause and dispersers of his adversities. Powerful art thou to do all that pleases thee. No God is there besides thee, the Almighty, the All-Glorious, the one whose help is sought by all men.
Glory be unto thee, O Lord my God. Nothing whosoever escapeth thy knowledge, nor is there anything that could slip from thy grasp, or anything that could thwart thy purpose, whether in the heavens or in the earth, of the past or of the future. Thou seest paradise, and the inmates thereof. Thou beholdest the realms below and the dwellers thereof. All are but thy servants, and are held within the grasp. O Lord, render victorious thy forbearing servants in thy days, by granting them a befitting victory, inasmuch as they have sought mandatory in thy path. Send down upon them that which will bring comfort to their minds, will rejoice their inner beings, will impact assurance to their hearts and tranquility to their bodies, and will enable their souls to ascend to the presence of God, the most exalted, and to attain the supreme paradise, and such retreats of glory as thou hast destined for men of true knowledge and virtue. Verily, thou knowest of all things. While we are but servants, thy trials thy bondmen and thy poor ones. No, Lord, but thee do we evolve on God, our Lord, nor do we implore blessings or grace from anyone but thee. O thou who art the God of mercy unto this world and the next. We are but the embodiments of poverty, of nothingness, of helplessness and petitions, while thou whole being betoken wealth, independence, glory, majesty, and boundless grace. Turn our recompense, our Lord, into which we well beseeches thee of the good of this world and of the next, and of the manifold bounties which extends from on high down to the earth below. Verily thou art our Lord, and the Lord of all things. Into thy hands do we surrender ourselves, yearning for the things that pertain unto thee.
O Lord, my God, and my heaven in my distress, my shield and my shelter in my woods, my asylum and refuge in time of need, and in my loneliness, my companion. In my anguish, my solace, and in my solitude, a loving friend. The remover of the pangs of my sorrows, and the pardoner of my sins. Wholly unto thee do I turn, fervently imploring thee with all my heart, my mind and my tongue, to shield me from all that runs counter to thy will in this, the cycle of thy divine unity, and to cleanse me of all defilement that will hinder me from seeking stainless and unsullied the shade of the tree of thy grace. Have mercy, O Lord, on the feeble, make whole the sick, and quench the burning thirst. Gladden the bosom wherein the fire of thy love doth smolder, and set it aglow with the flame of thy celestial love and spirit. Robe the tabernacles of divine unity with the vesture of holiness, and set upon my head the crown of thy favor. Illumine my face with the radiance of the orb of thy bounty, and graciously aid me in ministering at thy holy threshold. Make my heart overflow with love for thy creatures, and grant that I may become the sign of thy mercy, the token of thy grace, the promoter of concord among thy loved ones, devoted unto thee, uttering thy commemoration and forgetful of self, but ever mindful of what is thine. O God, my God, stay not from me the gentle glaze of thy pardon and grace, and deprive me not of the wellsprings of thine aid and favor. 'Neath the shade of thy protecting wings let me nestle, and cast upon me the glance of thine all-protecting eye. Loose my tongue to laud thy name amidst thy people, that my voice may be raised in great assemblies, and from my lips may stream the flood of thy praise. Thou art in all truth the gracious, the glorified, the mighty, the omnipotent.
O thou cherished fruit of the heart, give ear to the melodies of this mystic bird, warbling in the loftiest heights of heaven. The Lord hath, in truth, inspired me to proclaim, verily, verily, I am God. He besides whom there is none other God. He is the Almighty, the All-Wise. O my servants, seek ye earnestly this highest reward, as I have indeed created for the remembrance of God gardens which remain inscrutable to anyone save myself. and naught therein hath been made lawful unto everyone, except those whose lives have been sacrificed in this path. Hence beseech ye God, the most exalted, that he may grant you this meritorious reward. And he is in truth the Most High, the Most Great. Had it been our wish, we would have brought all men into one fold round our remembrance, yet they will not cease to differ, unless God accomplish what he willeth through the power of truth. In the estimation of the remembrance, these commandments hath in very truth been irrevocably ordained.
Glory be to thee, O God. Thou art the God who hath existed before all things, who will exist after all things, and will last beyond all things. Thou art the God who knoweth all things, and is supreme all over things. Thou art the God who dealeth merciful with all things, who judges between all things, and whose vision embraces all things. Thou art God, my Lord. Thou art aware of my position. Thou dost witness my inner and outer being. Grant thy forgiveness unto me and unto the believers who responded to thy call. Be thou my sufficing helper against the mischief of whosoever may desire to inflict sorrow upon me, or wish me ill. Verily, thou art the Lord of all things. Thou dost suffice everyone, while no one can be self-sufficient without thee.
Do thou bless, O my Lord, O Lord my God, the primal point, through whom the point of creation hath been made, to revolve in both the visible and invisible worlds, whom thou hast designated as the one whereunto should return whatsoever must return unto thee, and as the revealer of whatsoever may be manifested by thee. Do thou also bless such of his letters as have not turned away from thee, who have been firmly established in thy love, and clung steadfastly to thy good pleasure. Bless thou likewise, as long as thine own self-endurance and thine own essence doth last, them that have suffered martyrdom in thy path. Thou art verily the ever-forgiving, the most merciful.
the praise which had dawned from thy most august self, and the glory which had shone forth from thy most effulgent beauty, rest upon thee, O thou who art the manifestation of grandeur and the King of eternity, and the Lord of all who are in heaven and on earth. I testify that through thee, the sovereignty of God and his dominion, and the majesty of God and his grandeur were revealed, and the day stars of ancient splendor have shed their radiance in the heaven of thine irrevocable decree. And the beauty of the unseen had shone forth above the horizon of creation. I testify, moreover, that with but a movement of thy pen, thine injunction, be thou, had been enforced, and God's hidden secret had been divulged. And all created things have been called into being, and all the revelations have been set down. I bear witness, moreover, that through thy beauty, the beauty of the adored one had been unveiled, and through thy face, the face of the desired one had shone forth, and that through a word from thee, thou hast decided between all created things, causing them who are devoted to thee to ascend the summit unto the summit of glory, and the infidels to fall into the lowest abyss. I bear witness that he who had known thee had known God, and he who had attained unto thy presence had attained unto the presence of God. Great, therefore, is the blessedness of him who had believed in thee and in thy signs, and had humbled himself before thy sovereignty, and had been honored with meeting thee, and had attained the good pleasure of thy will, and circled around thee, and stood before thy throne. Woe betide him that hath transgressed against thee, and he denied thee, and had denied thee, and repudiated thy signs, and gainsaid thy sovereignty, and risen up against thee, and waxed proud before thy face, and has disputed thy testimonies, and fled from thy rule and thy dominion, and been numbered with the infidels whose names have been inscribed by the fingers of thy behests upon thy holy tablets. Waft then unto me, O my God and my beloved, from the right hand of thy mercy and thy loving kindness, the holy breaths of thy favors, that may draw me away from myself and from the world unto the courts, and from the world unto the courts of thy nearness and thy presence. Potent art thou to do what pleaseth thee. Thou truly hast been supreme over all things. The remembrance of God and his praise, and the glory of God and his splendor rest upon thee, O thou who art his beauty. I bear witness that the eye of creation hath never gazed upon one wronged like thee. Thou was immersed all the days of thy life beneath an ocean of tribulations. At one time thou wast in chains and fetters. At another thou wast threatened by the sword of thine enemies. Yet despite all this, thou didst enjoin upon all men to observe what had been prescribed unto thee by him who is the all-knowing, the all-wise. May my spirit be a sacrifice to the wrongs thou didst suffer, and my soul be a ransom for the adversities thou didst sustain. I beseech God, by thee and by thy name and by them whose faces have been illumined with the splendors of the light of thy countenance, and who, for love of thee, have observed all whereunto they were bidden to remove the veils that have come in between thee and thy creatures, and supply me with the good of this world and the world to come. Thou art in truth the Almighty, the most exalted, the all-glorious, the ever-forgiving, the most compassionate. Bless thou, O Lord my God, the divine oak tree and its leaves and its boughs and its branches and its stems and its offshoots, as long as thy most excellent titles will endure and thy most august attributes will last. Protect it then from the mischief of the aggressor and the hosts of tyranny. Thou art in truth the Almighty, the most powerful. Bless thou also, O Lord my God, thy servants and thy handmaidens who have attained unto thee. Thou truly art the all-bountiful, whose grace is infinite. No God is there save thee, the ever-forgiving, the most generous.
و لبها ای دردمند خردمند، در هر دمی چشم به ملکوت ابها باز نمایی، که ای محبوب یکتا و پروردگار بی همتا، محض فضل و جود درهای بخشش گشودی و رخ برافروختی و دلها رو بودی و غمخواه زدودی و نغمه‌ای سرودی که قلبها مجنون شد و عقلها مجنون. چه شد که پرده نشین گشتی و روی دلنشین پوشیدی؟ جانها محزون شد و یاران دلخون. بساط سرور برچیده شد و شاخ حبور پژمرده و خمیده. نسیم جان بخش ساکن شد و آب حیات را کرد. پس ای پروردگار نفحات انوار از ملکوت ابهایت منتشر نما و پرتو انوار از جبروت اعلایت لامه فرما تا آفاق معطر و منور مانند.
Tears flowed like rain that night. That night they took his life, and people gathered around to see had he really died. The stars fell and the angels wept. The earth opened up her side with 750 guns, and on his face a smile, and how they tried to conquer what they could not understand, and how their hearts were blinded, for he was more than a man. He was more than a man. The shots were fired, and when the smoke cleared, none could believe their eyes, for standing there unscathed and unhurt was the bald's companion alive. The Bob himself had vanished and gone. A frenzied search began, and still there were few to accept or believe that he was more than a man, a man. And how they tried to conquer what they could not understand, and how their hearts were blinded, for he was more than a man. He was more than a man. Shine on your light into the darkest night, and make all these souls take flight with your love. The second time that the shots were fired, darkness obscured the sun. Their bodies shattered, they fell to the ground, and were blended into one. 10,000 witnesses all gathered to see him die, and lingering there on his beautiful face, the warm embrace of his smile, and how they tried to conquer what they could not understand.